My most highly anticipated book of 2024 has arrived. I don't have a book jacket on it. It's Crescent City, A House of Flame and Shadow. This is the third book in the Crescent City series. I've been waiting for it for what feels like forever. December 2022, I picked up A Court of Thorns and Roses while out at the bookstore and thought, I hadn't read anything but thrillers in years. So I don't really know what inspired me to pick up ACOTAR, but I am so glad I did because I feel like I am now a hardcore fantasy girly. I started with Sarah J Maas, and I will say that she is probably one of my favorite fantasy writers, so I was very excited when this book came out. I pre-ordered it in September of last year when it was on sale. I don't know why books go on sale before they're even released. It doesn't make sense to me, but I think I got it for 40% off, which was exciting because this book runs you like $40-some in Canada. First I read A Court of Thorns and Roses, and then I picked up Crescent City. It was the second fantasy series I read as an adult. I read the first 2 books in this series, and then I moved on to Throne of Glass, and I've been reading fantasy ever since. And ever since, I've been waiting for this book release. So let's read this together. I'm going to give you my thoughts. We'll just have a fun little Sarah J Maas reading vlog. I'm very excited for it. I've never done a video. She says like she's done a lot of book videos. I have not if you look at my channel. But I've never done a video about just one book before. So I don't know. We'll see how this goes. I think it's only fitting to start this video by talking about my thoughts on the other books in this series. And this is where I tell you that this reading vlog will contain spoilers for the first 2 books in the Crescent City series. If you have not read those, do not watch this video unless you want to be spoiled.
Unless you want to be spoiled. Unless you want to be spoiled. I think I came out different than you wanted it to come out.
I think that's what I would say. What would you say instead?
Unless you want to have a spoiler.
Unless you want to have a spoiler.
Be spoiled.
Unless you want to be spoiled. Like I'm gonna send them riches. I will. If you keep watching this video, I will become your sugar daddy. So. I will be spoiling you left, right, and center. First things first, Crescent City is an urban fantasy, which sets it apart from the other 2 series that Sarah J Maas has wrote. Those are more like fairy tale, mystical, living in a castle kind of fantasy. This is cell phones and a version of electricity and living in high-rise condos kind of fantasy. I prefer more fantastical fantasy to urban fantasy personally, so this series already had a strike against it. And I will say that even though this was very highly anticipated, I enjoy reading this series. It's not my favorite series that Sarah J Maas has written. When I read the other 2 books in the series, now would be the perfect time to hold them up, but my mom is currently doing a reread before she reads this, so they are not here. But the first book in the series, I only gave 3 stars. The first book in the Crescent City series introduces us to Bryce, this main character, party girl, half fae, kind of wild child. And almost immediately in that book, some people very close to her are murdered, and the first book in the series ends up being more like a murder mystery where you are trying to figure out who killed her friends. There's demons, there's angels. In this series, there's a lot more mystical creatures than in her other series. And there's like everything. There's vampires, there's demons, there's mermaids, there's werewolves, there's everything. And for that reason, I found it a little confusing. Both the first and second books in this series, a little hard to track, a little hard to get into, and I found the world building good, amazing. She's great at world building, but it was a little intense for me. So I get a little confused. Maybe I'm just not smart enough to read these books. Then the second book in the series, Crescent City, A House of Sky and Breath, I absolutely loved and gave it 5 stars, and that ending was amazing. I absolutely loved the way that, again, spoilers, Sarah J Maas has been able to leave tidbits of information over all of her books, basically, to tie together and give us this huge multiverse crossover that I didn't see coming and I was really, really excited about. So I'm excited to see where that takes us in this book. So with that, let's start reading. So if you look at my phone case, I have a clear one. I put all these stickers on it, but I do regret it because like this sticker just like it wiped off. So we have a Taylor Swift sticker, another Taylor Swift sticker. This one is an ACOTAR sticker, but this one actually has Crescent City on it. You see that? I am ready for an evening of reading, and I have on my new Smash and Tess romper. This is the collab between them and Alicia McCarville that they sent over, and it is very comfy cozy. I love it. And if you look, oh my god, wait, it's hearts.
What?
Stop, it's hearts. It has been so long since I read the second and first books in this series that I think I'm going to need to do a refresh. So I think I'm just gonna watch maybe a couple TikToks about it. I'm sure someone somewhere has done a recap, and that'll help me remember, because I have a bad memory when it comes to things like that. I have a general idea what happened, but I need to remember more. Here we go. Reading starts now. I already can't remember who this character is. The one thing I will say about Crescent City is, of any fantasy series I have ever read, I'm talking to you, Joe, it is so hard to get into because I found the world building a lot more complex than a lot of other fantasy books that I read. So I know it's going to take me a while to remember all the details and get back into it. Love a good map. I just finished the prologue and I remember more than I thought I would. What are you reading?
The Strangers We Know.
She only reads thrillers.
I do, unless I don't. But the odd time I read something else, if I know the author.
Oh yeah, you read some romance.
Just because I knew her.
It is such a cozy snow day today. It is supposed to snow all weekend. Everything is closed. We had plans to like go out and get food and stuff this afternoon with the kids, and that is not going to be happening. They're currently napping, which is the only time I really talk to you, is when they're sleeping. And it is actually my third day of trying to read this, and I've only made it to page 56. So there's a lot of this left to go. So I feel like I should actually try to read some. It's not that it's slow even getting into it, it's just I mentally am not ready to read something this thick. I will say something that I forgot about this series is just how violent and gory it is. It's a very, very gory series, and I do not have like a thick skin and a tough stomach for things like that, and I find it a bit disturbing. So there's some things happening to some of the characters, and it's giving me like such an ick and like a little bit of anxiety, if I'm being honest. I hope that they don't die. That's all I can say. 82 pages into this beast, and I'm enjoying it. I will say that it's started very action-packed, and it has stayed pretty action-packed. This is all just my personal theories. None of this is spoilers right now. So we all know that the second book in the Crescent City series ties this universe and all of the other Sarah J Maas universes together. And it starts with Bryce, the main character, in the ACOTAR world. Bryce mentions how powerful Rhysand is, and it's like a power she's never seen before except for the Astari. I have seen a lot of these theories about Rhysand going around, and I wonder if there's more to Rhysand than we know, and if we're gonna find it out in this book. I hope we do. I really hope we do. So it's gonna be interesting. I should probably make myself something to eat, though, and take a little breather, because it's currently 1:20. The kids could be up any minute. I'm about halfway done, and I'm on page 452, so about halfway done. And we've lost the book jacket. Book jackets give me the biggest ick, and I know everyone's like, I can't believe you throw them out, but they just give me the ick. I hate the way they crinkle and they crust, but I don't love that this is just a crescent. It's fine, but could have been prettier without the dust jacket, but it's fine. I actually hate the main character of this book. I completely forgot until I started reading this that I do not like Bryce, the main character, the like female protagonist of this book. I do not like her. I don't know what it is about her, but I don't know. She seems selfish. I feel like she doesn't care about the people around her. I feel like, especially in this book, she seems to have a very, at the beginning, one-track mind where she's only talking about like Hunt, like her partner. Like that's all she cares about. She just wants to be with him. But I'm like, what about all your friends? What about your like family? Like, I don't know. There's just something about her that I don't vibe with. So I do think it's really funny. A lot of the reviews and like little things that I've seen, I'm trying to stay off of BookTok and BookTube and stuff until I finish this because I feel like it's everywhere right now. One of the things though that I keep seeing people say is, like it keeps flashing to Therion, is that how you say it? Who is like the mermaid. Care more about the side characters in this book. Rune is my favorite. I love the Fae. I love him. I don't know, there's just something about him. Lydia, who is like a newer character introduced in the last book, but she's in this a bit more now. I like her. I like Baxi. Like there's just so many good side characters, and I feel like for me personally, I just find the main character so unlikable that I don't care about her parts. Like, yeah, they further the story and that's like what I should be caring about, but I don't know, there's something about her. I'm gonna try to figure out what it is that I don't like about her reading more of this so that I can tell you why I feel this way. There's just something about her that I don't find likable. I don't know what it is. I do find though in general Sarah J Maas writes really strong supporting characters in her books. I found that with ACOTAR, and I found that with Throne of Glass, her other two series. I find that she writes really strong, really well-rounded secondary characters, and I get very invested in them. So I should have known that that was going to happen again in this book because it has happened in all the other series of hers. For Christmas, my wife tried to get me some book things, which I thought was very sweet of her. She got me, I think I've said, this cover case for my Kindle, which I love. People keep asking where I got this, and I don't know where she got it. I'm pretty sure it's from Etsy, so I'll see if I can find the Etsy seller and link it down below if I can. But she also got me this bookmark, which was an amazing thought. Not well executed on the bookmark maker's side of things, because anytime that it gets a little bit of water on it, the ink just runs because it's just printed on paper instead of being laminated or anything. So it did say welcome to the night court, but it started by just my kids licking it because kids put everything in their mouths, and the ink started running, and then I accidentally dropped it in the bath, which is my own fault, but I'm still using it. But a little ACOTAR. Wait, speaking of ACOTAR, so spoilers ahead, a ton of them. We know when we finish the second Crescent City book, House of Sky and Breath it's called, that she ends up, Bryce, main character, in the world of ACOTAR. So A Court of Thorns and Roses. She ends up there. We know that. We see her interact with Rhysand and some of the other characters like Azriel. So that's where this book starts, is she is in, I don't remember what the world is called, but she is there. Azriel is one of my favorite characters in A Court of Thorns and Roses. I don't know why. I just really like him. I always have. She spends a lot of time with him and Nesta, and I don't like the way that they're treated. I don't understand where it's going to fall in the timeline of ACOTAR. It's just really confusing to me. I don't know if I loved the way that it went. There was something about Bryce being there that I didn't like. I didn't like the way that she treated the characters that I'm more invested in the ACOTAR world. I understand, like, she just wants to get home. She just wants to, like, get back to Hunt, her mate. But I didn't like the way that she treated Nesta and Azriel and Rhysand and everyone. I don't know. There's something about her in all of those interactions that I was like, it's making me dislike you more, girl. Like, come on, be nice to the bad boys. But I will say that we learned a lot about ACOTAR, and a lot of like theories I had kind of came to fruition and are true. So that's always exciting. I liked getting more of the backstory of the ACOTAR, the prison and everything, which was very interesting. I don't know, I just didn't like her interactions with the ACOTAR characters. So there's that. I will say that my wife, Allie, is going to go out tonight, which means I can take a reading bath, which I feel like I haven't done in a little bit. So I can have a reading bath and read some more of this. And my goal is going to be not to drop it in the bathtub, which is why I have a Kindle that's waterproof, because I have dropped books in the bath. Our childcare, for lack of a better word, is currently reading ACOTAR. She's borrowed it for me and she's on to these too, so I'm very excited to see what she ends up thinking. She's gonna bring them with her to read. It's nap time. I am pretty caught up on my work right now, so I'm making a coffee. This is homemade vanilla syrup. Just squirted me in the face. I will say that there is a character in Crescent City that turns out to have fraternal twin boys. Guess who has fraternal twin boys?
Who?
Us. Allie, what?
Oh, I thought you were going to say in the book.
No, I wasn't going to say who in the book. I meant us. We have fraternal twin boys.
Yeah.
Also enjoyed that her twins look completely different because my twins look completely different. Alright, coffee is ready. Allie's making a coffee too. I'm just curled up reading, and it is hard to read a book that is physically this big. Like, how do you even hold that? But I wanted to say, ever since I became a mom, I have even less of a stomach for violence. And this is a pretty violent series, but when things happen to kids, I just can't handle it. I can't handle it. It just makes me cringe. Ugh. I have thoughts. If I read the words alpha hole instead of like asshole one more time, I'm going to scream.
Wait,
it
what?
Is right? Is that not so cringy? Alpha hole.
What does that mean?
Oh my god.
What happened?
I don't know how many spoilers to give, but we just found out something about Hunt, who's the main like character's love interest, her mate. And
Her mate?
her mate.
Totally your mate.
My wife also has a mate.
Do not
her
say
dog.
that. That sounds weird.
I know it sounds weird. That's why I always
Sounds
say
very
it.
weird.
Allie says that our dog, Rosie, is her soulmate. So there, she calls the dog Sully as a nickname, and her as mate. Like her and the dog had nicknames for each other.
I sound actually, I have no words.
These people don't even know you. This is
Weirder
for
than
my
it
YouTube.
seems.
So yeah, they're called Sully and Mate.
No. You cannot say that.
I am posting this on the internet.
No, it's too weird. I swear I'm not weird.
My wife is out for the evening with our friends, and I am on babysitting duty, which is actually the best duty for me because it means I get to read my book. Also, it's not babysitting, that's your own kids. I'm just staying in tonight. She's going out, and I am going to see how much of this I can read because I'm on about page 540-ish. So I could make a lot of progress tonight, and I'm going to take a reading bath. So I actually went to Lush and got a Valentine's Day bath bomb, which I'm really excited about because I love a festive bath bomb, and I went with, I think it's called Whispering Hearts. Look, there's a heart. Have my book, have my iced water, and 3 different alternative beverages. I have a caffeinated bubbly, I have a regular sparkling water, and I have a cider because I don't know what I feel like. I'm also gonna light some like really cozy candles, I think. I'm going for like a very floral feeling bath because that felt Valentine's Day-y. Just opened it and already dripping on the book. But I was gonna show you, this is how I managed to drop my bookmark in the bath. Oh my god, I'm still getting this, I'm just getting this more and more wet. Me and books in the bath don't mix. That's why I have an e-reader that's waterproof. 10 out of 10 would recommend getting an e-reader that is waterproof. I have the Kindle Paperwhite, I'll link it down below, and it's completely waterproof and I love it. But here's where I confess to you guys that I'm cheap, and I'm not one of those girls that is going to buy a book that I have in a hardcover on the Kindle just to make it easier for myself to read in a couple situations. So I'm gonna stick it out and drip water all over this book. Oh no, it's really wet though. Guys, I found a typo. Okay, so we are on page 552, but it was Adias, I assume, who answered, pride flaring on his face. There should be a, oh my god, what are those called? Apostrophe, but when you speak. Oh my god, why can I not remember grammar? Oh my god, quotation mark. So there should be a quotation mark right here before Apollyon. Apollyon slew her with his hellfire. When she attacked him, he pulled her burning heart from her chest and ate it. End quotation mark. There's no beginning. How did that slip through? I mean, I guess it's a fairly small thing, but like, even a spell checker I feel like would have picked that up and been like, why is there an end but no beginning, right? Guys, I dropped my bookmark in the bath again. I'd say I'm getting towards the end of the book. I am on page 684 and I still don't like Bryce. I think that she is so unlikable, and also I will confess that I'm not sure I understand the like politics of the world and like the hierarchy of like the Ox, is that how it's said, and like the 33rd, and I don't get it, and I don't think I'm gonna get it. I'm not sure yet how I feel about this book. So Bryce sends her parents through the portal to the Akatar world, but leaves behind the child they've been taking care of for like a year, like their foster son, and doesn't send him through because it'd be too suspicious. After this kid has been through absolute trauma his entire life, she's like, let's just add some more. Who cares at this point? I don't know. I just don't like her, guys. This book just started tying in Throne of Glass. Okay, we know almost nothing about Connor. But ever since the first book, I really liked him, and I could just cry with what just happened. We have less than 100 pages to go. Is today the day that I finish this book? I have no faith that it is. But who knows? I am on page 770, and Lydia just killed the hammer. And oh my gosh, why did I not realize when her son was named Brannon that it was going to be a connection to a freaking Game of Thrones, to Throne of Glass? Oh my god, how did I not pick that up? The shifters are the Fae from the Throne of Glass series. What? I did not. How did I not put that all together until right now? Even when they were saying like the shifters are Fae, maybe from another land. How did I not figure it out? I'm dumb. I have so little left, and the twins are up. Here we go. I have like 30-ish pages left of Crescent City. I'm excited. The dogs are gonna fight because they got new toys.
Excuse me. It's Elsie's birthday.
So I have to find if I can read after all this. I have to find my spot. I'm done, and I honestly don't know how I feel about this book. I will say, I'll see, that the ending feels very finite, and like everything has been tied up with a little bow. There was no cliffhanger. Everyone's stories are kind of very done seeming. So I don't know how there will be another book in this series, honestly. I need to think about my shots before I can give a full review of this book. So stay tuned while I think. I mean, for you, it'll just be the next clip. One quick thing before getting into my thoughts, reviews, questions about this book. In my opinion, writing is an art. Books are an art form, and art is extremely subjective. So just because I don't like a book or do like a book does not mean that you're going to feel the same way. So don't destroy me in the comment section for some of my feelings, because I know there's a lot of people that are diehard SJM fans, and I'm honestly scared to share my thoughts on this. So don't come for me in the comment section. There are things that I'm gonna like about books that you're gonna hate, and there are things that you're gonna hate about books that I'm gonna love, and that's like the wonderful thing, I think, about reading and interpreting things different ways. Art is subjective. Let's remember that. My opinion is just my opinion. I did it! I read this. This massive monster of a book is finished, and I have a lot of thoughts. Let's start with my star rating to start. I like to rate books out of 5 stars. What did I give this? Drum roll, please. 3 stars. So, I have a lot of thoughts. I just don't think that of all the fantasy series that I've read, that this one is one that I'm obsessed with, and that's fine. I've realized in reading more fantasy in the last year that I just don't love urban fantasy in general, so that is going to take it off of the perfection level just to begin with. Sarah J Maas is an amazing writer. This book is very well done. I love the way that she intertwines the universes. I love the way that she writes side characters. She's an amazing writer, and I love her books. This just fell a little flat for me for a couple reasons. One, I found Bryce really unlikable. Like I said, halfway through, it carried through the whole thing for me. I just did not really enjoy Bryce. There's something about her that to me personally seems like she's selfish. I feel like she didn't go through a ton of character development, at least in this book. But I mean, I think it only takes place over 10 days, so there's that reason. And there's something about her and Hunt that I feel like I don't believe their chemistry. I am still sad that Connor died and I didn't get to see her with Connor, because I feel like that might have been a relationship I could get behind. I definitely prefer a lot of the side characters' storylines to the main character's storyline. But with all of that being said, I enjoyed this book. I didn't anticipate that it was going to seem so final. I don't read enough book news to have known before I finished this book that this was the end of Bryce and Hunt's story, and that going forward, other books in this series are actually going to follow different characters. Also, on a spice meter, how spicy was this book? Maybe it's just because I've read a lot of really spicy fantasy in my life, but this wasn't the spiciest book. I want to say there was maybe like 4 scenes that were spicy, but they weren't like long drawn out scenes like you'll have in some other books that kind of give me the ick. These were fine. They were easy to get through. I don't read a book for the spice, so it could have been left out completely and I would have rated this book the exact same. But if you're someone that doesn't like a ton of spice in a book, there wasn't a ton in this. So I have a lot of unanswered questions after reading Crescent City 3. Let's talk about them. How do I say these names? We all know I can't pronounce things. Why do Amren and Selena's stories about the prison not match up? So Selena says that she made the prison and made it for XYZ reasons, and Amren says that she's already in the prison when Thea leaves the world. So that makes no sense. Someone is lying, or it's just a major plot hole. Why do Rhysand and Rune look the same? Why does Selena look like Rhysand's sister? Why? What is Rhysand? I don't think that Rhysand is telling us all the truth about everything. Something about him seems really sus. Where are the other princes of hell? What worlds are they helping? And like, doesn't Thanos, Lord Thanos is one of the brothers, one of the princes of hell, but they talk about him in the Hewn City in ACOTAR. Is it the same person, or did she just forget and give them the same name? I feel like it's Sarah J Maas. I feel like she doesn't forget things. Is there a reason for all this stuff, or is it just going to be plot holes? What was the point of the whole Sigrid thing? Also, what's the point of the dragon? They introduced a dragon to the series, and then just like, she means nothing. She's just, boom. What was the point of like any of the astronomer stuff actually? Like, what was the point of that? Why did we need that? I don't think we did. What? Why? Hello. If Therion, is that his name? I don't know, the mermaid. If he's addicted to the Viper Queen's venom, they say like, oh my gosh, it's like the strongest drug ever. All these people are addicted to it. How did he literally just say, I'm gonna leave and walk away, and it was just perfectly fine? That doesn't make sense. I feel like I am dragging this book through like the mud and saying everything I don't like about it, but there were things I liked about it, so let's talk about those. I love Lydia. Oh my gosh. Talk about a crazy, strong female side character. I wish that we saw more of her. I found her so intriguing. In the Throne of Glass series, Manon, that's how I say it, I don't know, Manon, I've heard people say. She is my favorite character. I absolutely love her, and I was getting the same vibe from Lydia. She's amazing. I love that she has twin boys. I have twin boys. There's a little kinship there. As I'd said earlier in this video, Rune was my favorite character from the first two books. So them being together, I loved their storyline. I loved their love story. I thought it was great. I'm gonna say one thing I didn't like. I didn't like him shooting her because she had just got out of an abusive, toxic relationship, and she's supposed to just get shot by her mate and it's fine. I didn't like that at all. It gave me really big ick. The scene where we find out that there is an afterlife and we see the 7 figures on the hill with the little glowing flame on Danica's shoulder, that scene brought me to tears. I actually thought it was so beautiful and so poetic and lovely. I loved that. I know it's a little bit of a hot take because most people don't like the side characters and all the little side quests. I liked it. I thought Ethan was cute. I know people are like, oh my god, what is going on in that boy's head? Nothing. That's the answer of what's going on in his head. Nothing. And I'm here for it. He has big golden retriever energy. I have 2 golden retrievers and a golden doodle. So I love golden retriever energy. I loved learning about Thea and the backstory of how it ties together with ACOTAR, but I think more, I actually enjoyed, well maybe not more, maybe equally, enjoyed picking up on the little Throne of Glass tidbits throughout the book. Lydia being a descendant of Brannon and having fire magic, and oh my gosh, it was so cool. And everything that the Underworld King said, very intriguing. There were good things about this book. I don't want to drag it to filth. Like, I did enjoy this story. I gave it 3 stars. I could have given it less. I do think in general that I'm a pretty tough rater. And since we said a few positive things, can I say a few more negatives? I get that SJM doesn't like to kill off main characters. It's part of her thing. She likes happy endings. I don't feel like I got too many happy endings. And this is coming from a girl who said she doesn't like violence. What was that fight? That big fight that we've been leading to? The Astari are supposed to be these world eaters. They literally enslave people and control them because they are so strong, and they've done it to so many worlds and have hardly ever been beaten. Except for the time one of them was eaten. What? You're telling me that it took them 2 seconds to to win that battle basically? No one was even hurt, and bada boom, bada bang, they're gone from this world and everything is fine and dandy. I don't believe it. I feel like one of the things that I loved so much about Kingdom of Ash is that the last book in the Throne of Glass series, that book is amazing to me. That battle, I cried multiple times in that battle because there was stakes. I felt like there was stakes in that. This book, I was not worried at all for any of the characters in the end there in the fight. I knew they were all going to make it and have happy endings, and it made the battle lackluster because it didn't feel high stakes. I was not that invested in it. And also, to find out that the Prince of Hell knew all along all of the information that we've been trying to figure out and just didn't tell her. She literally had to go to another world to find this out, and he knew all along. What? I promise I am still a Sarah J Maas girly. I just didn't like this book that much. I just found it okay, and that's okay. Please don't hate me if you disagree with my thoughts on this book. I thought though that this was going to be like an epic 5-star read, god tier book. So I think that's part of it. I'm just a little let down by it, which is fine. I'm excited to read a new fantasy series because I think that's what I'm in the mood for. So that's gonna be good. All right. Thank you for watching today's video. This was very long. If you're new to my channel and I've stuck it through this long, you might as well subscribe, right? Bye.